The 4 characters at the beginning are invincible. The first combat power, pure in emotion. The most persistent 9-tailed fox. Knowledgeable. A short-tempered lowly knife wielder who loves leather. She only suspects the male protagonist, which made the 4 masters fall for her. Escort him. I originally thought the 4 female masters would simply die. Escort me to become a saint. But I didn't expect that they all had their own plans. They all want me to be their little padded jacket. Today, I decree. I climbed to the top alone. Lily Rain also shot down, challenging the Cunyan curse that no one can break in a century. This is the disciple of the 4 immortals. With the blessing of the system, the formation set by the Lily Empress broke down. While the formation was broken, Shachi was teleported to the 4 immortal pillar. At this moment, a surprised voice sounded. How did you pass the test? Shachi looked up at the eyes. But at this age, you don't look qualified. Dao Shen immediately saw through Shachi. But Lin Su couldn't possibly ascend to the heavenly realm and couldn't pass the 9 heavens extinction array. Shachi wanted to tell him that he had an appearance, but the system's warning sounded. Host, please speak carefully, or you will be struck by lightning. Perhaps it was the traces of time, or it's been neglected for a long time. Yan Yu ordered Shachi not to move. She went to report to her 3 sisters. Then the teleportation array on the top of his head flashed. Xian Yu. Just next time, he thought how to explain all this to his master. The system prompt sounded. The seemingly ordinary water beside is actually an online hit song. 10 years condensed into 1 drop. The treasure in the pool. Infinite times. How could it be wrong? Instantly take off clothes and plunged into the little bugs. In the next second, his blood instantly. The originally fragmented realm was quickly revealed. On the other side, Yan Yu disappeared from the teleportation array. He was asked by several sisters if he had seen Shin. The boy is quite handsome. But what? The eldest sister's curious question. The little grandpa. Even in daily life, even the usually taciturn second sister's eyes shone with pride. 9 tails spread out like flags. Even the usually taciturn sword god. The 9 heavens tribulation. The 3rd level wild god. The little grandpa in the 3's mouth said the strange words of the decree. That kid is obviously an omnipotent. The spirit is always on the ground, but he can still break through the 9 heavens tribulation. The second sister firmly believed that this disciple was the son of destiny. The next second, he sent the tail to his little sister. Yan Yu grabbed it and put the tail in front of him. This kid must have cheated. Otherwise, it's the 9 heavens tribulation. Execute. The 3rd master interjected to remind that the law would never go wrong. Finally, the Lily Empress decided, since he passed the exam, he would be our 2nd level disciple. Shao Qi. He eagerly expressed his desire to meet this guy. A moment later, the fourth master arrived at the temple first. Otherwise, it's the nine heavens' extinction, like a blooming flower. Seeing Xia Xian swimming in the pool, Xia Xiu, Xia Cheng found Yan Yu was followed by. The first master was stunned, but soon he thought. Although he felt guilty. But in order to continue the system, he had to, risking being killed. He continued to give him a bath. The fourth master's eyes flashed. He shouted loudly, "Tell Xia Shi to get up quickly. Xia Shi, listen to me. Naked." The second master's golden hoop was useless. The third master doesn't drink either. It's not bad. The fourth master, through the gaps between his fingers, let the lower soldier put on clothes and stand up. However, the lower master, 2 feet. You asked me to stand up. I'm good, master, and there are weapons in every breath. Even though the three sisters openly admitted, I will not accept it. As soon as the words were spoken, he pulled out the divine sword from the void crack. The sword energy soared and distorted the space before the two masters could vomit. The fourth master's giant sword was already surrounded by flames. Xia Qi was terrified. His gaze was fixed on the blade. The flame was like the feather of a phoenix. Lifelike. Xia Zi decided to take a gamble. Using the skill given by the system, catch the white moon with empty hands. He used the skill given by the system to catch the white moon with empty hands. He spread his arms. The moment his arms collided with the blade, the immortal around him instantly. The blade with divine power, but couldn't move forward. Master was dumbfounded. Can't believe. How is that possible? Meanwhile, Xia Shi's empty-handed catching of the white blade. The hurried Liuli emperor was full of anxiety and sternly commanded the years to pass. The two masters turned their attention to Xia Qi. Seeing Xia Qi was unscathed, the fourth master couldn't believe his full-strength attack was actually blocked by Sparrow. Until the Empress showed displeasure again, she had to restrain herself and obediently put away the god knife. But the inertia of the god knife pushing Xia Qi into the pool, the god knife returned to the void. Yan Yu bowed his head and admitted his mistake, as if he had made a mistake. The Empress punished him to copy it. Qing Qing's anger value instantly exceeded 100,000. Yan Yu looked aggrieved. She could only obediently lower the ruler. She was angry because of the rainy season, Qing Qinging, and Kyongkong Shenti. Kyongkong Shenti ranks first among Shenti. Increase the cultivation speed by 100 times. With this technique, will become the master of the 3 realms. The female emperor officially announced the decree. She became the direct disciple of the 4 and will be the master of Kaoming Holy Domain. Then she called Xia Qi to return to Kaoming Temple. Second, the master sticks out her tail and winks. When being naughty, my dear apprentice, I will train you well in the future. The third master followed. Click if you need to learn. I will prepare it for you. Only Yan Yu was indignant, asking Xue Qi to follow. The empress ordered Grandpa to take apprentices and teach Shaozi before the ceremony. Yan Yu strongly objected. I have no experience in teaching apprentices, and this kid doesn't get along with me. It's precisely because you two don't get along. You need to hone your minds. This matter was settled. Then the empress continued to cut out the side face in her hand. Yu sat down powerlessly. Xiao Chu. She took the order from the eldest sister and called out to issue the decree. She turned around and gave the order. She waved and followed. Yan Yu walked ahead with arrogance. Xia Shi followed behind and followed leisurely. Xiao Qi was leisurely following behind. Yan Yu's personality is too straightforward and simple. But the empress thinks the Kaiming temple has been too self-cleaning. It's just right to come and add some vitality to the disciple. Jiang Shen nodded in agreement. The nine-tailed fox master was smoking a secret cigarette, saying that our little apprentice has many secrets. The future life will be very interesting. I'm looking forward to it. Yuri was silent. The two just stepped out of the temple. Xia Qi couldn't wait to ask some questions, such as whether the second master is a fox, and how did the fourth master become one of the four immortals. Xu Chen felt annoyed. Xia Qi introduced the house and the surrounding buildings. The two stopped in front of the gate of Shangyun Pavilion. Xia Qi asked Yan Yu if he could hear. My task is just to take you around. I have homework later. No time to meditate on TV. Wait for the next time. I can't watch it anymore. I'll do my homework later. Yuan Pavilion is the empress's personal assistant, but this name makes Xia family uneasy. Then Yan Yu's voice suddenly sounded. Sister said you are a contract follower, but can't act. Xia Qi was about to say he had a golden finger, but the system refused mercilessly. However, Yan Yu's suspicion of Xia Qi is not unreasonable. Gaze for a while, catch the lightning with bare hands, and the god's own strike. It must be cheating. Hearing this, Xia Cha could only touch his head awkwardly. After all, I'm real. Yan Yu turned around and walked to the next place. As long as you hide your horns, then it's not a big problem. The next step is behind him. But he keeps complaining about Yan Yu. Girls get angry earlier. Entering menopause. The actor originally didn't take these words seriously, but when the consequences were pointed out, his mood suddenly became uncontrollable. He was originally a grumpy child. If he grows a beard or becomes bald, he is really not going to get married. In this regard, in the years of adolescence, the more angry they become. If I really become smaller. As soon as he finished speaking, seeing this, he quickly moved a big stone, trying to calm the unspoken words, the more helpless swallowing words. The angry expression on his face was like a burning flame. 500 years! Xiaqi also realized the projection of the four masters. The anger of Yanyu towards certain things was so strong. After mastering the popularity of the four masters, Xiaqi, he continued forward with a sly smile. Although you are petite, your butt is still big. A word made Yanyu's anger soar instantly. In order not to kill Xia Qian, he took your sword from the space. Then he used magic to turn into a giant tooth, chasing Xia Qi around the Holy Land. The next morning, the door was kicked open by the four masters. Seeing the naked Xia Qi, I asked him to get on the bike and continue the visit. Xia Qi quickly put on his clothes and followed him. Could it be that the fourth master was still angry? I said he was flat-chested. The fourth master was still angry about what I said. This time, the third master accompanied the visit. He comforted Xiaqi, who was about to cry. He is still a child, and didn't mind. A bad idea came to fourth master's mind. Who isn't a child? Shifu scolded Yanyu to calm down and taught Xia to respect the master. The pure and innocent third master personally selects. No one was moved. The third master decided to lead Master Xia. This time he will do it himself. But what he didn't know was that the third master and the fourth master had different intentions and secretly compete. The third master personally. The third master is a real master. Unfortunately, I will be your master in this life. By the way, I suggest you stay away from Master 3. As for the reason, the third master hesitated to speak. Chai Chenggong's filth is full of anger. Xiaqi knocked on the door carefully. Then they came to a building. They heard the third master's stomach growling with hunger. It happened that the cooking smoke was here. It's also the four masters, the only one who can still feel the pulse of life. Yanyu pushed the door open with bad intentions. Xiaqi hadn't realized that this would be a... Yanyu squatted down, as if looking for something. The lower ruler is a bit empty. The four immortals should not need glasses to live. The third master explained. The only hobby of the confident one is all like different flavors of chicken. The third master used to cook before, but he needs to focus on retreat. So this task will be handed over to Xia. But Xiaqi really couldn't figure out why he likes chicken. He turned his head slightly. He grabbed a chicken, an old hen, and then handed it to Xiaqi, urging him to hurry up. Although one person and one chicken were late. Although it's late, cooking chicken is Xi's forte. The master didn't expect Xiaqi's cooking skills, and even wanted to take the opportunity to mock, following the principle of quickly letting the chicken enter reincarnation. Xiaqi started to cook the chicken with a knife. The cooking journey began. It starts with a trap of a chicken. The simplest cooking often evokes the truest taste. Xiaozi's cooking skills are impressive at this moment. In just half a moment, Xia Shi served 4 different flavors of chicken. The eyes of the 4 masters were attracted. When the lid was slowly lifted, the chicken was exposed in front of the masters. The masters involuntarily backed away from the aroma. The mind and taste buds dance simultaneously. The muscle is formed. With a flash of light, the second master covered his mouth in surprise. Such a culinary miracle made him unable to believe himself. The Empress was the first to break the silence. He picked up chopsticks, marking the official start of this gustatory feast. 4 pairs of chopsticks danced gracefully, searching for their favorite people. When the chicken pieces slid across the tongue, the strong aroma burned like a fire. The taste buds of the 4 chefs were instantly awakened. The Empress was the first to comment that it was a long-lost taste. The second master felt like being surrounded by fire. The third master felt that, as if seeing the feeling of a broken mirror. Yan Yu was also conquered by the delicious food. Even the chicken himself didn't know its taste was so good. The Empress asked how this delicacy was made. The final answer was that the second master smiled with satisfaction, indicating his satisfaction. She originally wanted to embarrass Xiaozi. The 4th master only uses food to shut his mouth. After dinner, Xiaozi watched in the room. She hoped the system could unlock more functions. But she didn't know that the footsteps of the Empress were approaching. She wondered if there would be more powerful weapons, like the atomic bomb. But he didn't notice the breath of the Empress behind him. I just didn't know the big thing. But the moment it heard the sound, it bit down. Fortunately, the 2 understood the bullet's intention. It turns out that the Empress wanted to give the symbol of the 4 disciples, Xiaozi, which can protect his safety at critical moments. Xiaozi was shocked. Fortunately, the Empress doesn't know who the atomic bomb is. Atomic bomb is not as good as me. I'll show you when I have a chance. You can do it. Just as the talisman was handed over, Yudi's voice that penetrated the heart sounded. Xiaozi was instantly frozen. Xiaozi was about to ask more. The Empress had already left. The next day, Xiaoqi planned to go to Guanyu Gong. The only thing I remember is that place is like folk songs. It's all Yan Yu's fault for yesterday's guidance. But today he still wants to use a few jokes to suppress. Fortunately, the 3rd sister stopped him, worried that he might go too far with his joke. Xiaoqi mistook Xingyun Pavilion for a library. As soon as she approached the door, it seemed to open on its own. Xiaoqi was full of doubts and hadn't had time to think. A furry tail suddenly popped out silently. Then it wrapped around his lower teeth and dragged him in. The little apprentice asked the master for something. I thought I had entered some realm. After seeing the second master, Xiaoqi, I breathed a sigh of relief and heard your tone seemed a bit disappointed. It seems that you don't want to see me. Shachi quickly waved his hand to explain. I just wanted to go to the library to find some basics. But this place is also in our exploration plan. The second master's bookstore is nearby. Good apprentice loves learning so much. I'll catch a turtle next time. Shachi dodged when seeing Xiachi. The second master thought he was scared by himself. The next second, Xiaoqi killed the second master. Praise words like spring water. At this moment, a tail suddenly popped out from the back of the second master's waist. Although Xiaoqi was frightened by this sudden situation, but a warmth rose in his heart. The second master's tail turned out to be like this. The second master explained that as long as he is happy, he will stretch out. If he is happy enough to show 9 tails, he would say it loudly. The pills on the big treasure cabinet are all made by me. I'll give you whatever you want. You can have it. Anyway, if you want anything, I'll give you whatever you want. It's like giving an order in classical Chinese. I'll recite a poem. Fortunately, you don't exist in this parallel world. I can only recite a poem shamelessly. Every poem makes the second master feel the shyness of a girl. After the corpse was formed, 9 tails successfully stretched out. The gesture is beautiful. Second master is rich and beautiful. People are more beautiful. She sensed that this guy was flirting with her. 1 tail stretched out. Zhang Xiachi Shu. Today, the second master will teach his disciple well. It's swallowing the master. In order to make Xiachi learn more diligently, he decided to give him a reward first, and then teach him. The tail suddenly disappeared. A pair of plain hands wrapped around Xiakai's neck. Meanwhile, countless illusions rushed towards Xiachi. You can choose whichever you want. The pills here can be taken freely, but the purple hole on the cabinet cannot. The second master's fingertip lightly touched. Xiachi began to learn illusion. The fox's illusion is very interesting. Xiachi suddenly thought of controlling the size. He will naturally do his best. I don't know how long has passed. Yan Yu stepped into the second master's room. Yan Yu softly asked my second sister, "What are you doing?" I saw Xiakai's movements were abnormal and rolled on the ground and shouted something. "Oh, 24. Second sister, did you use waterboarding on him? But the second master just smiled. He was just teaching Xiachi the sinking technique and wanted Yan Yu to learn it together. However, Yan Yu worried that Xiachi was practicing, so he decided to complete the big knot first. Let Xiachi familiarize himself with the environment. A powerful dunk. Xiakai's beautiful dream was shattered. Xiachi danced with his waist drum. He felt that the second master had powerful mental power. He accidentally fell for the illusion of the second master. It's just a pity. I couldn't fully experience the mystery of illusion. Yan Yu asked Xiachi what he saw in the illusion. But this paid plot. Xiachi won't tell you. The system prompts that the second master's illusion ranks among The second master is incredibly powerful. Then he bowed and saluted, saying he would come back another day to learn illusion. The voice of the second master is full of temptation, will give everything. After following Yan Yu here, Xia Qi, who walked out of the second master's residence, Yan Yu was born and broke it. The lower official also relished the hope. However, Yan Yu also admired Xia Qi's courage. The voice was full of love. It was because the technique was more exciting. Although he was a little bitter, but Yan Yu didn't show it. He decided not to argue with his little apprentice. Xia Qi stared at Yan Yu closely. Yan Yu could only take Xia Qi to the long road again. To relive the unforgettable memory of yesterday, Yan Yu could only take Xia Qi to the long way again. They walked one after another. Yan Yu sneered at Xia Qi vaguely. Some people have clear realms, but can't understand these profound ideas. But Xia Qi doesn't understand. After all, the slow bird flies first. With anger in her heart, Yan Yu pushed open the door of the library. She saw the third master was concentrating on reading ancient books. Xia politely called out twice, but the third master's attention was still focused on the ancient books and didn't pay any attention to Xia. It wasn't that the third master deliberately refused, but when his mind was immersed in calligraphy, the noise outside could not disturb him. Yan Yu waved his hand slightly to greet Xia. He confidently said he was familiar with it. After 2.5 hours of searching, Grandpa finally found his house, where he was proud of his scissors. After walking for 2.5 hours, he found this. What else? Xia Qi couldn't help complaining. Yan Yu blushed. You're so wordy. I'm just helping you. While Yan Yu was concentrating on searching, Xia Qi began to look around the bookshelves. Soon, a sinister pattern cover caught Xia Kai's attention. He bent down and picked up the book. Zhu Shaolai Huo, swordsmanship invaded. His mouth couldn't help but smile. He wanted to laugh, but he held it back. After all, it was the skill of the fourth master. This scene was unbelievable. At this moment, the third master quietly appeared behind him. I was just reading a book and didn't notice. Grandpa was happy to see the third master and couldn't wait to make a wish to him. The subordinate was afraid that he would be sad and quickly hid the book. The years are clearly remembered. The book was placed on the bookshelf. It's my little sister's 9 divine swordplay. I have no impression of it. Maybe it was stolen. Seeing the third master's serious and sad expression, and a dragon appeared on his forehead, he quickly put the book in his hand. After learning that Xie Zi was looking for books, the third master turned his head with a deep look. What type of book do you need to find? He knew that Xie Zi wanted to find advanced books. The third master lowered his eyes. Then she raised her spirit with her plain hands and spread like water throughout the library to find a suitable princess for the lower limb. In less than half a time, he found many advanced princesses. The third master smiled and said to Shashi, "These modest reading materials, if there is anything difficult to understand, you can come to me at any time." The sergeant hurriedly bowed and thanked. He was about to stand aside. You suddenly said, and anxiously pulled the private down. Before leaving, he said hello to the third sister. Unexpectedly, the third sister's words were remembered. Don't just remember his words. Don't use your martial arts. Don't always make typos. Even his favorite kun was replaced by pinyin. This is not good. Yan Yu didn't mean to destroy Xia Kai's reading. He was just worried. Jia Qi will turn into a corpse while reading. Because when the third master is concentrating on reading, he will unconsciously emit a cold. And he doesn't even realize it. At that time, Yan Yu will be unable to retreat. Yan Yu also reminded Shi, don't spread the word about his mistakes, or he would become a monster. Xia Kai's eyes sparkled with excitement. He certainly wouldn't do such a thing. He certainly wouldn't do it. 2 words made Yan Yu collapse. And Shi at this time received a task to enter Inner Mongolia for the exam. The punishment was still unknown. Still thinking. Xiazi didn't notice. Yan Yu was arguing fiercely beside him. When Xiazi first came to this world, Jia Si has experienced countless system honing and hardships. If he can't join the Inner Mongolia exam within a month, he would be fired by the system. Thinking of this, Xia Xi's eyes became firm and made up his mind. When his hot gaze fell on you, Grandpa suddenly became a little shy. Why are you screaming like that, brat? Did I find out that you are my charm? In fact, he was worried that there were too few people here. He couldn't collect enough youth. Only he can step over here. Now he can only find a way to go down the mountain. Yan Yu's sudden interruption made Xia Shi think. Women only affect his quality of drawing the sword. But before going down the mountain, he must get off work. Yan Yu, who didn't get a satisfactory answer, and then asked, "Do you think I'm delaying your cultivation?" Xia Shi's gaze was sharp and upward. Occasionally, he just felt that, in adolescence, and maybe he fell in love with himself. Yes, that's the expression. Nonsense. The next second, Yan Yu drew the divine knife from the void. Yes. Yan Yu, are you embarrassed and shy? You can only use the card to hide your feelings. You've provoked Yan Yu again. The system rewards 9 yin gong to level 10. Will automatically upgrade the martial arts hall. Shai is full of longing for the future. To piss off Yan Yu, he continued to provoke you with his childhood and puberty. Yan Yu raised the divine knife and prepares to let this apprentice who loves cultivation to accept the stab with his body. The first move of Julai swordsmanship, Yan Yu's blade pointed directly at She Kai's brain. At the moment when the blade was about to strike, Chia Qi screamed wildly, "Fourth master, let's make a bet." The space it passed through. The sudden stop of the space. Chia Qi breathed a sigh of relief. The power that has been accumulated for 20 years. Yan Yu looked at it lightly. Retract the god knife. 1 month later, it's Inner Mongolia. Let's bet on whether I can participate. To become an inner disciple, you must at least. Although I raised my snow energy 2 days before summer solstice, even the raindrop lady took 3 months. Yan Yu didn't think he would lose this bet. Under the encouragement of Xia Qi, Yan Yu quickly accepted it. He asked what the conditions were. If he didn't like the conditions, he would continue to teach him moves. Xia Qi has become the second emperor. If the loser leaves the holy eye, Yu Qingfeng agreed to this condition. Even if I lose, I will think about it again. If you pass the exam, if I win, Shi Kaoqi whispered in Yu Qingfeng's ear. If I win, you will marry me as my wife. That year, Yu Lian. I'm already strong. Chachi fanned the flames beside. Could it be that the fourth master was afraid to accept the challenge? The vague confidence that reacted, and agreed to this. But before leaving, Xia Shi has a dangerous wife. He hoped Yan Yu could help him go down the mountain. The steps of the temple is not something ordinary people can leave easily. He wanted Yan Yu to help him go down the mountain. However, his request was directly rejected. The sergeant instantly changed his face, which triggered his passive skill. If you don't help me, I will kiss my future wife. Yan Yu blushed and angrily scolded him. Then she kicked his lower limb with a scorpion kick. The lower back wasn't ready, and his lower limb was kicked off. Under the sky, a meteor cut through the ship. A disciple was stunned. Do you remember the move that fell from the sky? The disciple automatically stepped back 3 feet, about to free fall. He struggled to stand up. His first reaction was not. Isn't this a useless person entering the room? A sharp voice cut through the endless. Breaking through the 9 heavens extreme array, climbed to the sky. How could he rely on mocking to get rich? How could he care to take a look at those clowns? Today's ridicule and oddity are just the people who were bullied before, climbed to the heights that they could never reach. They thought this experience of Xiazi was, but it just let Xiazi pass. When I climbed down and you couldn't climb up. At this moment, the system prompt sounded. Anger value accumulates to 100,000 and the mall is open. Xiazi's heart armor. If only there was a bottle of cola at this moment. Coincidentally, the moment I opened the mall, a bottle of wooden Coke worth 5,000 anger points. What's more, it's just a 200 milliliter bottle of mini. One gulp is enough to drink it all. Don't worry. One bite will kill you. Still complaining about the opinions sold by the system. Produced in priceless land. The man behind saw the waste in his eyes. His heart was burning with anger and decided to act. He punched fiercely, but was easily deflected by Xie. The man who was already burning with anger now looked like a demon from hell. He finished drinking the Fat House happy water in 1 second. He vented his anger on that. Worth 5,000 points. Indeed, it's just a drop in the bucket for Xie. But he had to spend it. His breath is thousands, he asked the heart. The suppression of the sevenfold bloodline made everyone envy. Xie is no longer the one who was once looked down upon. In just 3 days, he has crossed a gap of 6 seasons. Everyone has a common guess in their hearts. Next time, he will definitely accept the 4,000 cultivation. Otherwise, how could he be so miserable? The substitute undoubtedly rewarded him with only 7 layers. So he was kicked out. The ridicule of the surrounding disciples made the man more angry. Although his realm didn't improve. But he is the young master of the Tiandao Alliance. He holds a power in his hand, which can increase triple cultivation in a short time. He is not afraid. The challenge letter has been spread out. Whether it's the Axe Gang or the Tiandao sect, let it go. The young master of the Tiandao Alliance did not hesitate. He took out a bottle of secret elixir. He swallowed it with a gulp. Just as Xie was puzzled, a powerful blood energy gushed out from the body of the young master of Tiandao Alliance. But unfortunately, there is no referee here. During the competition, he openly took a scarf. He not only violated the rules, but also forced me step by step. Maybe I can lose in momentum, but I can't lose verbally. You're far from it. As soon as he finished speaking, the man rushed down He rushed down sharply. At this moment, only actual combat can decide the winner. However, at this critical moment, she chose to withdraw, consuming 5,000 anger points. Exchange 15 seconds of invincibility. Want to use it? The young master of Tiandao Alliance, Ka. His strange figure rose from the ground. When gathering all the strength into hands, without hesitation, he directly exchanged for the invincible spirit. Against the backdrop of the dazzling golden light, the flawless body is even more dazzling. Blood on the fairies all over. The power of a punch is like a thunderbolt. In the face of this power, the lower body didn't even have the thought of resistance. Come and scratch my itch. The next second, petals fell like snow. The familiar figure almost reminded him of his mother. The power of the young master of Tiandao was shattered in the face of this power. Not only the man was shocked on the spot, Even the lower soldier was lost in the face of this power. It was the second master who helped. I saw cherry blossoms falling from the branches, and the jade pot lightly touched his finger. I Kemming Saint, I can't attack my fellow clansmen. Have you forgotten? Although Xia was rescued by the second master in time, but he wasted the diamond he exchanged for nothing. The young master of Heaven Alliance was frozen in mid-air. The second master took a step forward, touched his forehead. Tian Dao Alliance in Sheng Yu, don't go too far. I'll give you a small punishment. The next moment, the space seal on his fingertip began to carve. The space behind the man, a wormhole-shaped scream, disappeared as the space crack closed. Everything returns to calm. The man looked at all this in a daze. He was shocked that the second master could summon it casually. Shao Shiqi is so bold. Aren't you afraid of being beaten to death? Then Shao Qi began to say himself, now I'm going to play a man who was kicked out of temple. Shao Shiqi is so stupid. If you act, all the plans will be in vain. The whispered words made the second master blush. She nodded obediently. Their intimate behavior aroused the curiosity of the people. They couldn't help but get closer to persuade. Jia Qi solemnly taught a lesson, was suddenly betrayed by the drama queen's parents. Then the teacher and student screamed and sat down powerlessly on the ground and cursed Qi as a heartless man. The second master instantly got into the role, making Xue Shi instantly relieved. Li Shen was insulted and betrayed by his benefactor. The anger of many fellow apprentices was like a tide. The effect was beyond expectations. The second master gave a charming look. How did I act? The second master was so charming. The second master was not satisfied, asking about the next plan, but the lower master didn't want to. The effect was good, and the performance of the second master in this scene almost made him lame. Jia Shi said the next scene was okay. She walked forward and took the master's jade hand and helped him up. Unexpectedly, the second master used the wings to leave quickly. From the perspective of the bystander, I haven't had enough fun. The second master's eyes were full of anticipation. Jia Qi suddenly felt uncomfortable. Then the second master covered his chest and cried like the bullied girls, leaving a mess, and left a mess to the innocent Xia Shu. Feeling the surging anger behind him, Shang Qiu couldn't help himself. They chased Xia Qi with sharp weapons. Jia Qi turned livid. Xia Qi. This scene made the spotless 24 smile charmingly. Since we're playing, let's play it to the end. The coquettish goddess's second master cooperate with Xia Qi to play a scene of bullying a girl. But they got too involved, and the range was too large, causing Xia Qi to be thrown away by Quan Zhou Di, and was thrown away by those who wanted to avenge the goddess. he suddenly found that he had stepped into a place called Biu. In the deep of the pool, there is a faint white, and white water droplets flowed down his toes. Seeing this scene, he was suddenly. The next second, the suburbs of the third master appeared. The next second, "Come here, master." He knelt down on one knee, bowing his head low, and called out cautiously. The third master explained that he was kicked in, not intentionally to peek. The second master must know the third master is here. He must have done it on purpose. "This is my meditation place. Those who intrude will be punished." The third master's voice was cold and ruthless, but there was a hint of tenderness in his words. Then the third master turned around and stretched out his hand. "Then I'll punish you. Help me put on my clothes." The bathrobe in the distance was pulled to the lower body. The bathrobe fell into his hand. He just woke up from the words of the third master. The third master stretched out his palm. "Mom, please give the order to help me put on my clothes." He resisted the restlessness in his heart. Xia Shishi sorted out summer clothes and then carefully helped the third master put on clothes. With a few operations with his left and right hands, Master San was flawless. After the belt was tied, the third master, "You said you would participate in the exam next month." Chia Chi was bleeding from his nose. There was no trace of emotion in the third master's eyes. "You are already our direct disciple. Why are you still so persistent? The belt is tied. The matter of cutting leaks. Xia Shi can only lie, claiming that he didn't want to be questioned by foreign disciples. I also became a disciple of 4,000 by my own strength." The second master turned around with a piercing gaze, staring at Xie Shi closely, his twin-colored eyes, as if they could see through Xia Kai's heart. After a moment, the third master finally let Xia Qi go and promised to keep it a secret and would not mention the matter of trespassing. Seeing the third master believed, Xia Shi breathed a sigh of relief. The disciple will retire. Meanwhile, Xia Shi received a message about the rumor that the second master was defiled, which caused more than 1,000 foreign languages about to unlock, and the effect of cultivation. Chungming Holy Land spiritual cultivation, Chit Shi, is queuing up. Changming Holy Land spiritual cultivation palaces Xiachi is queuing up. This is a holy place for cultivation. The pressure and cultivation effect of each floor. When filling in personal information, I received a message. His primary problem. Although he collapsed in the hall, but he still gathered courage to collect himself. And the length is not counted. About 18 centimeters. It's Zhang Zhizi's turn. I clearly asked about height. "What did you say?" "Half an inch long, which is even smaller than my shoe size. 7 layers of spirit veins. Then you go to the second floor. If you can't handle it, come out. Don't push yourself." Thinking of the exam that will be taken next month, I must do it as fast as possible. Isn't the second floor a bit too charming? Wen Yongzheng said, the top talent in Inner Mongolia last year has challenged the third. You're not young anymore. 7 choices. It's better to be safe. The next second, 3 mocking words. And abandoned by the 4 immortals. Don't think about it. The young master of the Tiandao Alliance, who was taught by his second master, is the master of these 3. The fat-headed Lei San, the skinny Wang Si, and the handsome Zhang Shuai. Xia Shi ordered to continue attacking. You are really good. You still are Lin after so many years. But this time the anger came to them. Blood was stunned, facing the personal attack of Xiao Qi. These 3 thick-skinned people were not affected. And Xiao Shi almost succeeded. In just a few days, these people have immunity. Just then, the system started random teleportation. The time in the main world instantly stopped. The host will be teleported to Lei Mountain. Lei Mountain is a Go game in Tianlong Babu. The system prompts that the chess game was solved by accident. It was the rumored Baining divine art. However, an accident occurred. But Xiao Qi will master it as soon as possible, because learning the magic can solve the pressure of level 18. His good master suddenly appeared. Just wanted to be courteous, but was disturbed by the crow. It turned out to be an ugly monk. Scared me to death. The old monk is actually a beauty lover. He worried that his ugliness would affect Bei Ming's power. But the chess game was solved. Before he could teach the technique, he could only sigh helplessly. Seeing his master's ruthlessness, he won't pretend to be a gentleman, angry that he shouldn't give it away for free.